Tales of Horror, 31 days before Halloween. The legend of Jack's haunted lantern in Sleepy Hollow. In the small town of Sleepy Hollow, there was an old legend about a man named Jack who had made a deal with the devil. In exchange for his soul, Jack was granted a single burning coal to light his way into the afterlife. But Jack had a trick up his sleeve. He placed the coal inside a turnip and used it as a lantern to guide him through the dark. Legend has it that Jack's ghost still roams the town with his lantern. One night, a group of friends decided to explore the abandoned woods outside of town. As they walked deeper into the darkness, they started to feel as if they were being followed. Suddenly, they saw a flickering light up ahead. As they approached the light, they realized with horror that it was Jack's lantern. It was floating there, held up by nothing. Suddenly, it shot towards them, and they bolted in terror. But the lantern didn't give up. It chased them, hovering and flickering, until they stumbled upon an old abandoned cabin. Breaking in, they thought they were finally safe. But then things started to get really creepy. They heard footsteps, whispers, and even saw a shadow creeping towards them. Just when they thought it couldn't get any worse, they heard a blood-curdling scream. Rushing outside, they saw that Jack's lantern was just outside the window, casting an eerie glow on the face of a man in the yard who had gone missing years ago. No one ever figured out what happened that night, and the mystery of Jack and his lantern remains unsolved to this day. Encounters with Sandmen. An unexplained mystery in the desert legend has it that in the deserts of the world, there are creatures made of sand that come to life at night and prey on unsuspecting travelers. They are known as the Sandmen, and their existence is an unexplained and unsolved mystery. One summer night, a group of friends decided to go on a camping trip in the middle of the desert. As they set up their tents and built a fire, they noticed strange noises coming from the sand dunes. At first, they thought it was just the wind, but soon they realized there was something else out there. As they lay in their tents, the Sandmen emerged from the dunes, their bodies shaped like humanoids made of sand. Their eyes glowed red in the darkness, and their movements were slow and deliberate as they approached the campsite. Terrified, the friends tried to run, but the Sandmen were too quick. They surrounded the campsite, trapping the friends inside. The Sandmen began to reach out with their sandy arms, trying to drag the friends out of their tents. Suddenly, one of the friends had an idea. He remembered a story his grandmother had told him about using salt to deter evil spirits. With nothing else to lose, the friends opened their bags of salt and began to throw it at the Sandmen. To their surprise, the Sandmen recoiled at the sight of the salt. They retreated back into the dunes, leaving the friends alone and shaken in their campsite. To this day, no one knows what the Sandmen are or where they come from. Some say they are ancient spirits of the desert, while others believe they are creatures created by dark magic. Whatever the truth may be, the legend of the Sandmen lives on, a chilling reminder of the mysteries that await in the most desolate places on Earth. The Legend of the Beast. In the woods, an unexplained and terrifying event. There was a legend passed down through generations in the small town, nestled deep in the forest. It was said that a beast roamed the woods, terrorizing anyone who ventured in too deep. The beast was said to have glowing red eyes, razor-sharp claws, and a piercing growl that sent shivers down your spine. One summer, a group of teenagers decided to put the legend to rest and uncover the mystery behind the beast once and for all. They packed their bags and set out into the woods, determined to solve the unsolved mystery. As they walked deeper and deeper into the forest, the sun began to set, and the woods grew darker. Suddenly, they heard rustling in the bushes, and the unmistakable growl of the beast. Heart pounding, they shone their flashlights into the bushes, but they saw nothing. Nervously, they continued their journey, not knowing what lay ahead. Suddenly, another growl broke the silence, this time much closer. They shone their flashlights around and saw a pair of glowing red eyes staring back at them. Frozen in fear, they watched as the beast slowly emerged from the shadows. The teens ran as fast as they could, but the beast was too fast. With lightning speed, it caught up to them, taking out the first victim in one swift motion. The others ran until they reached a clearing, where they thought they would be safe. But they were wrong. The beast followed them, its glowing eyes illuminating the clearing. It was then that they realized the true horror of their situation. The beast was not an ordinary animal, but a creature beyond comprehension. It was a beast with unexplained and unsolved origins, and it was out for blood. The teenagers never made it back to town. Their disappearance remains an unsolved mystery, but the legend of the beast in the woods still persists. Those who dare venture into the forest at night are warned to beware, for they may never return. The unexplained urban myth of the trick or treat demon on Halloween night. It was Halloween night, and the small town of Millfield was abuzz with excitement. The children were dressed in their scariest costumes, eagerly knocking on every door in the neighborhood for candy. But there was one trick or treater that no one wanted to encounter: the demon. Legend has it that the demon would appear out of nowhere, dressed in an ordinary costume, and ask for candy. But once a homeowner handed over their treats, the demon would snatch them away and drag the person into the darkness, never to be seen again. No one knew where the demon came from or where it took its victims, leaving the townspeople frightened and wondering if they would be next. As the night wore on, the people of Millfield began to hear strange noises and see shadows moving in the darkness. They whispered to each other, wondering if the rumors about the demon were true. As they handed out candy to the trick or treaters, they were on high alert, looking for any signs of the demon. But it wasn't until midnight that the townspeople would come face to face with the demon. A young woman was walking home from a Halloween party when she heard footsteps behind her. Turning around, she was met with the sight of the demon towering over her in a ghost costume. She tried to run, but the demon was too fast, chasing her through the streets of Millfield. The woman turned a corner and tripped, falling to the ground. The demon pounced on her, dragging her into the darkness where she was never seen or heard from again. To this day, the people of Millfield still wonder what happened to the woman and fear the demon's return on Halloween night. The legend of the trick-or-treat demon remains unexplained and unsolved, a frightening mystery that no one dares to investigate. The legend of the Headless Horseman, a haunting tale from a remote village in the woods. The villagers whispered in hushed tones about the Headless Horseman, a fearsome figure that haunted the woods surrounding their village. The story goes that during the Revolutionary War, a Hessian soldier had his head blown off by a cannonball, and his restless spirit now roamed the earth seeking revenge. One dark and stormy Halloween night, a group of teenagers dared each other to venture into the woods to try and catch a glimpse of the Headless Horseman. Armed with only their flashlights and their nerves, they set off into the darkness. The wind howled through the trees, and the rain lashed at their faces as they trudged deeper and deeper into the woods. Suddenly, they heard a sound that made their blood run cold, the sound of hoofbeats. They froze, hardly daring to breathe as the sound grew louder and closer, and then they saw him. The Headless Horseman, mounted on his ghostly horse, rode towards them, swinging his sword wildly. The teenagers screamed and turned to run, but they found themselves trapped in a circle of fire. The Headless Horseman rode around them, cackling with glee as he swung his sword at them. They tried to run, but the flames licked at their heels, and they felt themselves slowly being surrounded. Just as they were about to give up all hope, the Headless Horseman suddenly vanished, leaving the teenagers standing in the middle of the circle of fire, dazed and confused. To this day, no one knows what happened that Halloween night, and the villagers still whisper about the Headless Horseman and the unexplained and unsolved mystery that surrounds him. Are you brave enough to face the chills and thrills of our horror story? Watch and share if you dare, and don't forget to subscribe to stay tuned for our spine-tingling narratives. Subscribe to our channel to never miss our latest updates.